Thank you, Bianca. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Christina Oriel, the managing editor of the Asian Journal. We're a Filipino-American community organization, and I'm pleased to be one of the organizers of this event. So welcome to the ABA's third annual Young Entrepreneurs Forum. First, I'd like to acknowledge several ABA board members joining Queen Wei, Elizabeth Yang, as well as ABA Executive Director Dennis Wang and staff members Bianca and Dee. So this past year with the pandemic, the ABA has been helping small businesses and entrepreneurs to a path of recovery. Through events like this, the organization has been able to give small business owners a platform to connect and a chance to listen to each other's stories for motivation and learning. The ABA continues such as the financial assistance, business recovery, and business resiliency initiatives on its website, and we'll link in the chat to learn more. And if you'd like to experience more events like this, you can become a member for free or a premium member for only $100 a year. So before we kick off the program, we want to thank the generous support of several individuals who made this event possible. Let me introduce you to Theo Suzuki, Client Service Partner at Ernst & Young and board member of National ACE, and Ray Chu, Southern California President of ACE Next Gen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Theo Suzuki, and I'm a Global Client Service Partner with Ernst & Young. I'm also a proud board member of the National Asian and Pacific Islander American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship, also known as National ACE. We are a national nonprofit organization, and our mission is to serve as a strong advocate of AAPI business interests and affect positive change on all issues that enhance and advance the goals and aspirations of AAPI business owners. For the past few months, we have worked closer than ever with our national network of over 65 affiliate chambers and partners around the country to ensure that our AAPI business community has the most accurate and up-to-date information about the important resources that are available to our community during this global pandemic. Our strongest partnerships are with the Asian Business Association and also with ACE Next Gen. We are grateful to Dennis Huang, Angela Chang, Andrew Chau, Bryan Pham, Celeste, Perez, and also John Victoria for making time to share their successes of being young entrepreneurs, particularly during these unprecedented times. We're just now beginning to see the impact of COVID-19 that it has had on our AAPI business community. National ACE, along with the U.S. Black Chamber and U.S. Hispanic Chamber, commissioned the largest national survey on the impact of COVID-19 on small businesses with a particular focus on Black, Hispanic, and AAPI businesses. The recent report of our national survey data shows the devastating impact of COVID-19, in particular on the AAPI businesses. I would like to share some interesting statistics with you. 84% say that COVID-19 had a negative impact on their business. 60% of those who did not apply for federal relief say they didn't apply because they didn't think they were eligible. 53% reported increased debt to keep their business operating. And 78% believe federal, state, and local grants would provide the greatest relief to small businesses. Now, this survey data is important to show how minority businesses, particularly AAPI businesses, were severely impacted by the pandemic. This data is being used to inform and educate lawmakers on Capitol Hill of the challenges and opportunities AAPI business owners are facing across the country. National ACE has instituted a program to help tackle many of these issues, including helping individual businesses with financial assistance, as well as helping individual businesses restart their operations safely and strategically. If your business is in need of complimentary one-on-one consulting or other resources, please don't hesitate to contact us through our website at www.acesmallbusiness.org. All of our services are free of charge, and we're here to help. I look forward to hearing the inspiring voices of our young entrepreneurs who will be sharing their stories tonight. Thank you again to the Asian Business Association and also ACE Next Gen for hosting this very important discussion.
Hi everyone, ACE Next Gen is so proud to be a co-sponsor once again of the Young Entrepreneurship Panel presented in conjunction with Asian Business Association. My name is Chau, your president for ACE SoCal for 2021, here to tell you a little bit more about our organization. ACE Next Gen is the premier gathering of Asian American Pacific Islander millennial entrepreneurs building or in the process of building something that matters. If that sounds like you, don't be a stranger. Come connect with us. Your host, Angie, as well as your panelists, John Victoria and Andrew Chau, are all part of our organization, and I'm sure I'm here lurking in chat somewhere along with other members of ACE Next Gen. You can find out more information at www.acenextgen.org. And chances are, if you're on this call, you're already one of us and you just don't know it yet. So why not make it official? Special shout out to Asian Business Association for throwing another wonderful event. That's it from me. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you for those great remarks. Next, we'll hear from one of our sponsors, Boltran Hu, Business Banking Sales Manager of US Bank.
Good evening. My name is Boltran Hu, and I'm the Business Banking Sales Manager with US Bank in the LA area and Advisory Board member with the ABA. I want to thank the ABA for allowing US Bank the opportunity to sponsor the third installment of the Young Entrepreneurs Forum. We here at US Bank are especially proud to sponsor tonight's event because we know that businesses across our country have been adversely impacted since the beginning of this pandemic. So entrepreneurship is even more important now than ever by creating the economic opportunities within our communities that will ensure the American dream remains alive. And that starts with great conversations like the one that will take place here tonight, virtually. At US Bank, through our corporate responsibility group, we support organizations and programs that advance our community possible initiatives, prioritizing organizations that have an intentional approach to addressing systemic, economic, and racial barriers to success in our communities, which are artistic and cultural enrichment and learning through play, neighborhood stability and revitalization, workforce education, and economic prosperity. US Bank has been a proud sponsor and supporter of the Asian Business Association since 2012, and we have provided close to $400,000 in sponsorship dollars so the ABA can continue to advocate on behalf of entrepreneurs, create opportunities to share experiences, and most importantly, create economic prosperity. I hope everyone here is able to walk away with new perspectives and inspiration as you continue with your own journeys to find economic independence and prosperity. And if you ever need a good banking partner along the way, we hope that you think of US Bank. Thank you again to Dennis and the ABA team for giving US Bank the opportunity to sponsor tonight's event, and I hope everybody enjoys tonight's panelists.
Thank you, Boltran. Without further ado, today's discussion will be moderated by Event Chair Angela Chang, who wears many hats, such as CSO of KCAL Insurance Agency, President of BOW Payroll, and an ABA board member. Welcome, Angela.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Chang, and thank you, Christina, for that kind intro. So as you guys have heard, I'm part of the ABA board as well as on the ACE Next Gen National Board this year as well. So wanted to welcome everyone on behalf of both organizations, and especially wanted to welcome our panelists. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our four panelists, and let's do this in alphabetical order because I thought about this a lot and wasn't sure how to go about introducing everyone. So let's start with Andrew Chau. Andrew, would you give everyone a quick welcome? And everyone, you can refer to the program book that the digital link has been posted a few times if you guys are interested in further information. Andrew, you're on mute.
Yep, that's right. Hey, everyone. Good seeing you all. I just want to say hi. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Boba Guys. So if you don't know, it's a most people know as a cafe kind of concept, but we also have vertical integration. So we own our tea supply chain and our factory that makes the tapioca balls. So I can't wait to talk a lot about building a company. Our company, just to give you guys size-wise, we're just over 300 plus now.
Thanks, Andrew. Next up, we have Bryan and Pham.
Hey everyone, I'm Bryan. I'm one of the co-founders of Asian Hustle Network. We're an online community to amplify Asian entrepreneur voices around the world. And our team is about 15 people, so it's pretty exciting. And we're looking to branch out and create events this year, especially in 2021 in Singapore, Taiwan, and Korea. So stay tuned for that.
There isn't a member of Asian Hustle Network, right? Thanks, Bryan. Next up, we have Celeste Perez.
This feels like Miss Universe. Hi, I'm Celeste. I am the founder of Droplet. We are a sparkling adaptogen beverage. We launched right at the beginning of COVID. And before that, I was in branding with my studio, Well Fed. And with that, we started another company called Tenfold, which is, you know, how you get your nails did in a quarantine. And we've also helped a lot of different companies get started, especially in the food and beverage world. And I am a proud Trojan, and I'm sure there's a ton of us in here. So fight on.
And I definitely need to ask you about Tenfold later on. My nails are going to be done.
Got you. I got you.
Celeste. Next up, we have John Victoria.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is John Victoria. I'm the owner of Polianna, and we are a boutique digital marketing agency. Started out as a general agency serving a lot of different local businesses, but currently our iteration is that we serve HVAC and plumbing companies to free them from using third-party platforms like Home Advisor and Angie's. Excited to be here. Pretty small company right now, about 9 of us, but super excited to share everything with the panel today. So looking forward to chatting.
Thanks, John. And fun fact about John, he moved to San Diego sight unseen. All right, let's talk about the hard stuff first, okay, guys? Let's talk about building a team. So hiring the right talent. This may be the toughest part for anyone building a business. Do you have a rule or process that you follow that served you well? And please feel free to jump in, or else I'm gonna start calling on you guys. All right, Andrew, you're being called on. What's your process for building a team, and how do you choose the right talent?
So it's pretty straightforward. You know, a lot of what we do is based around hospitality. So the soft skills, if you're in, you know, hotels, restaurants, you have to kind of have a really good frontline workforce. So we generally look for self-awareness. I think we've talked about this quite a bit on the internet. Like when we hire, we ask questions that are related to self-awareness. So hopefully this is, you're not going to put our cheat answer out there, but we ask, like, what's the biggest misperception of you by other people, right? So that's an idea of like how self-awareness works, or what do people say when you're not there, and what do people say when you're around? So for us, that's kind of like the big piece, because if you have self-awareness, it kind of is the gateway to like self-improvement and working on your EQ. If you have issues with self-awareness, you really can't work on your EQ. So for us, everything comes through that. There's other things that we talk about, like ownership and servant leadership. But I think for us, it's one single trait is self-awareness.
Does anyone else want to chime in on this question?
Sure, I'll go. A question I like to ask is, what's something you really admired in your parents, and what's something that you wish they could have done better? And I feel like especially in the businesses that we run, they're very high touch, they're very personal. Vulnerability is a big deal for us, and something we very much value. And if a person feels uncomfortable answering that question, then we know maybe they might not fit in the mold that we try to build here. That's, you know, very open. And usually people come to us with amazing answers that help us really understand who they are, who they want to be, and the things they don't want to, you know, the habits they don't want to take into their daily lives. But yeah, we ask really personal questions like that because our entire thing is about self-care. And the other thing about hiring is just really just making sure that everyone's on the same page, you know, that what they're doing with us also builds them up for whatever they want to do after they work with us. So those are my two little cents.
For those great answers. So we are in a whole different era right now where a lot of people are working from home, right? So this next question is very poignant to that. How do you build trust with your team and create avenues for open two-way communication? And how do you enable your team to offer impact? John, you okay with me calling on you? Hey, you're still on mute.
Can you hear me now? Perfect. So yeah, actually one of the frameworks that we use for building trust, it's I don't know if you've heard of this. It's called the Walis Ting Ting. And if you're a Filipino, you probably know what this is. It's it looks like a bundle of sticks, and we use it to sweep homes. And so the reason why this concept is so relevant is that first, when we were first starting the company, we were imagining like, how was the team going to be built, right? If you have the Walis Ting Ting, it's just one strand. It's very easy to break. But if you have multiple people combined with different talents, all serving one purpose, it's very difficult to break us. And so for building trust with the team, one of the things that we always talked about was, what is our purpose? What are our values? And always staying very congruent with those values. Also, one quick example was that at the start of pandemic, I remember when it was very difficult for a lot of our clients. And so a number of them had to pause their services with us. And when I went back to the team, I told them, hey guys, it's not looking too good, but we got reserves in the bank, and I promised that we're not going to put anyone's payments on hold. We're going to continue to go on, and I'm going to make that promise to you. And so that was at a time when things were a little bit too crazy, but I made that promise to them. And so 6 months later, we were able to retain all of our team. We're actually able to retain our clients as well after some talking back and forth. And I think that act of doing that built a lot in terms of the relationship bank account. And so things to do with values, things to do with the alignment and purpose, and things to do with the actions as well.
I have never heard of that before, but what a cool analogy. And Bryan, your team is fully dispersed, right? So how do you guys do this?
I'm gonna say something very counterproductive. Before that, let me stay constructive first. So I have one-on-one sessions with everyone. But every Friday, we have open critique Fridays, where as leaders of the organization, we ask our team to sort of critique us really hard. Let us know like what's wrong with us. Are we talking too much during meetings? Are we not talking enough? Are we look like we're dozing off? And we take that really seriously, And I got that concept from Ray Dalio. It's that if you're a leader, if you as a leader can't admit to your mistake, you can't lead a team, and that doesn't build trust. And on top of that, it's like we make it almost fun for people to make mistakes, because we're all about adaptation. We're all about innovation, And if you make an environment where you get penalized for making mistakes, you're not going to be able to grow and adapt and take on things quickly. So we have this game where we tally up people's mistakes throughout the week. And at the end of the week, if they have a mistake, then they actually get a prize for it, because we make sure that you grow from your mistake. We make it not a negative thing, but a very positive thing, because our organization is always growing quickly and doing different things.
I'm assuming you're also rewarding them for fixing those mistakes, right?
Of course. I mean, we're all professionals here, in a sense where if you enable people to make mistakes, people will take more risks, suggest more things during meetings, say the craziest things during meeting. We want that. That's how we're going to keep up with different trends and continue improving the Asian Hustle Network experience.
Wow, that's awesome. Also, next question, how do you retain top talent, particularly once they've mastered their current roles? I'm really curious to know this about Asian Hustle Network, actually, because I know you guys promote from members to moderators. How does that work out, especially if you haven't met a lot of them in person?
So retaining top talent is always a big challenge, right? Because there's always opportunities that come their way. And I think for us, it's reminding them of the bigger mission other than themselves and what we're working towards. It's how we retain top talent, but obviously giving them the flexibility and ownership to work on projects that reflect their strength. I think most of the time that where you cause attrition on your team is when you force things down their throat and have them work on things that don't matter. Of course, we need a little bit of both. It's more of a balancing act. But if you can find people in the right projects that they feel really passionate about, for example, we have people on our team who are adoptees. We have people on the team who are part of the LGBTQ community. We have projects based upon that, upon their interests and their skill set. We retain top talent. But it's been a huge challenge because with top talent, they tend to go in a lot of different directions. And as a leader of the organization, you have to remind them what your North Star is all the time, at least like 2-3 times a week. Because it's so crazy how things can go so well and fall apart so quickly in the same day. Yeah.
I recently had a conversation with Andrew about this topic, so I wanted to hear his comments regarding this topic as well. Retaining top talent and how to prevent people from poaching your team.
Yeah, this is really complex and depends what kind of industry. I think in media, like Bryan, and even in, I would say, consumer products and services, it's all relationship based, right? So the question is like, how do you keep your relationship always kind of mutually beneficial? I always say, Angie, you and I have talked about this, but like WIFM, which is what's in it for me. So you always got to have good check-ins, and you can't take people for granted. So, for me, as you scale, especially as you scale, it's really, really hard, right? So, I have like 6, 7, 8 layers now in our company. When I was in corporate, my highest, I was a director, and I think I had 4 layers max. Now as a CEO, I have, if you count all our subsidiaries, we're almost 400 total, actually. I was doing the math. And at one point, how does the person who's 8 layers down feel just as connected to the mission as the person who was there for 5, 6 years? I've learned the hard way. Some of you guys see, there's all these, rumors of, how we manage stuff, and it's hard. But I'm known for my bookshelf behind me, and there's a great book from Daniel Coyle. He wrote a book called Culture Code, and it's one of my favorite books of all time for business. And it talks about, culture is really an organic thing. So to be honest, it's less about what values do you have, but more about the structure you have to sustain any type of values. Because some people might say innovation or excellence or, perfection or high quality or standard empathy. Many companies that are highly functional have values. Most of them got there because they have great values. What keeps it together is the way to reinforce values through rituals, totems. Some people chant. I was ex-Walmart, so I have to learn the Walmart cheer. We don't have that. That's kind of cultish. But like the idea is you have all these things reinforce that. But that structure is, I think, how you retain talent, because it's almost like a ecosystem. Some people say like religion, but that keeps people more into it than kind of a lot of the right values. Values change over time, even.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's look at external now. So let's be honest, we're young here. So because of your age, how do you get customers, investors, or anyone to take you seriously? Anyone want to chime in on this? No one wants to chime in on this. I'm going to call on someone. Celeste, how to get people to take you seriously?
Gonna be me. It's so funny because that's a question I do get asked a lot when I do these. I talk to a lot of, young kids and high schoolers who want to start their own things. And it's been a struggle for me, actually, especially looking really young, to be in corporate spaces. And I learned very early that I had to come with a body of work and a reputation that was sterling. That is something that I protect with like the life of me, basically, because I can't afford to come into a room and not be prepared because of simply, maybe I'm 5 feet tall. I'm like very tiny, and I'm no taller than a 13-year-old boy. So like, you have to know your shit. Oops, I don't know if we can do that here. I realize that this is a professional network. But you do have to come in and you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have, a body of work that you are proud of, that you can stand behind, and you have to have a work ethic that brings people to you. With the question that was asked earlier about how do you keep and retain top talent, it's, you have to be someone they believe in, or you give them something that they believe in, that they can create for themselves, that they need to, they need you to make that world real for them. And so, being able to be taken seriously is absolutely essential for me, especially in, as I move forward into new spaces, especially even for women. Like beverage isn't really a female-friendly space. As I pointed out yesterday in something we posted on our Droplet account, there was a big industry clubhouse for beverage, and it was all men. And we're really seeing now that it's something we don't want to know, but we definitely can see that there is a difference. So yes, we want it to be that. When you look at what we've done and the work we have been able to create, that there's no denying that we are great at what we do, and that will lead people to take it seriously.
You tell it. You're getting a lot of love in the chat room.
I should pay attention.
As an individual that is pressed for time, where do you look to keep your eyes on the ball? And how do you position your values, your value proposition? I'm going to direct that at John.
Can you hear me? Perfect. So yeah, for us, starting the business, I also started at a pretty young age. I was 20 at the time. I couldn't even drink at the time. And so going through being a young guy and going through time, it's been interesting to figure out how to stay on top of things. And the basic principle that we use is that we'll always like to stand on the shoulders of giants, because there's been a body of work. There's been a ton of people who have done what we've done already, and we'd love to learn from them. And so for us to stay ahead in the industry, a lot of what we do is we spend our times in different masterminds, different groups, and we do a lot of our own testing. And so having that in combination with having a great team who is also very focused on iterating and improving, that has allowed us to stay on top of things, especially in a very changing industries such as Google search. I focus on how do I get websites to the top. It's changing every 6 months. And so it's just a lot of being in the right rooms, talking to the right people, and testing to see what we get out of it. So that's been it for us, mentorship and testing.
Thanks, John. And Bryan, there are so many Facebook groups out there, right? There's Subtle Asian Trades, Asian Creative Network. How does AHN differentiate itself, and how do you carve out that niche?
Yeah. I think we don't quite look too much into competition. We look more into value proposition. Like, what can we bring to the community? That's super important to us. And I think that what we really make a priority on the team is predicting trends that come and getting on top of the trends. For example, before Clubhouse became a big thing, we already pinpointed Clubhouse as a new source of funnel for our members that we wanted to target. Just our group that's grown to 30,000 members in 2 weeks, and we're growing about 6,000 members per day now. So the million mark is super realistic, and that's the type of thing that we try to foster in the team, is adapting quickly, identifying trends, and hop onto it quick. We're really about adaptation.
Super impressive. Look to your social media accounts as the trendy things that I need to get on. So that's really cool that you're doing that. All right, next question. How do you measure success? How do you know you're doing well, and which areas you need to improve? Does anyone have KPIs that they can share with us? I'm going to call on Andrew. He knew it was coming.
Needs to make sure that all right. Yeah, I wasn't ready for this one. So I mean, we're in a size, so I'm not sure kind of the makeup. I do know there are some sizable companies here. At a certain size, the question I would just zoom out a little bit is, should you even have KPIs? When do you bring KPIs, which is key performance indicators, to measure the health of your company? In the first, it's kind of like the first 3 to 5 stores, we weren't making, you know, enough that you need to kind of maximize every dollar, right? They call it satisficing versus maximizing. So in the beginning, you kind of satisfy. So you get 80% there and you're good. So KPIs are a way to optimize, right? KPIs generally are a maximizing type of tactic. And so I would say, you know, now we're 8 figures. You generally do have KPIs. So this is the first question: when do you bring KPIs in? So for us, we're in retail. We have KPIs that are related to sales. That's an easy one. Profit, that's an easy one. But you know, things that we look at: turnover, whatever it is in your industry, would be just the idea of how healthy and how well do you retain. That's really what turnover is. So if you're having people leave all the time, that's not great. Something's probably going on. But if you have nobody leave, sometimes that actually is an indicator that you might not have a really good filter, that you just hold people on for too long. So that's another KPI for us. And then we do look at, you know, what you call external kind of engagement factors. So we look at engagement on social media. You know, back when we had 10,000 followers on Instagram, or, you know, we would look at it, but it wasn't optimized. Now we have 100,000 followers on Instagram, almost 20 on TikTok, and we just started TikTok a month ago or something. That's like, to give you an example, Instagram, we have a ton of KPIs, but TikTok, we just started, it doesn't have any. So I'd probably approach it more of like, when do you bring KPIs in? Because in your own business, you guys have respective metrics that are unrelated to hospitality, but that might be important in insurance or supply chain logistics. So you'll find that. I don't think that's the issue. It's the real question of timing.
So if you had to choose one thing to measure success out of all the things that you mentioned, what would you say is the top thing that you would look at?
Ooh, I think I'm giving a little bit of the secret, but I'll share it with this group because since I have history with you all. So we use Square as our point of sale system, Square, and in it has new versus returning, because it's credit card based. So you can actually see if somebody's come back before. And to me, I'd like to know how many people are coming versus returning. So if we are very aggressively growing, then of course, most of our people, like 70% is new, 30% returning. But a steady state, for me, I generally like 50-50. I like 1 out of every 2 people have come back before. Because if you have nobody really come back, then you have a bigger issue. I'm an ex-marketer. I mean, most people, if you don't know my background, I'm ex-Clorox, right? So my background was I was supposed to be a CMO of Coca-Cola after business school. So I'm an ex-Clorox brand manager, very traditional track. And what you learn in brand management is loyalty and retention is everything. So it's very hard to kind of acquire new customers. So you want to focus on retaining it for your brand. So it sounds technical, but I highly, if you can have a metric internally that you all have in your own CRM of how many people are new versus how many people are returning, I think that goes a long way.
Really great point. Thank you, Andrew. All right, let's switch focus to business plans. So in business today, it's no longer a 5-year plan because everything changes so fast, as everyone witnessed in this past year. So how do you all plan for the future? Celeste, would you mind taking this one?
I wouldn't mind. You know, so Droplet, our company, is it was a labor of love for us. So we've been building brands for other companies. You guys probably know and love them. Wanderlust Creamery's one, K-Rom. Like those are the kinds of brands we are working on. And seeing the success of the companies that we had helped start, we were like, well, what if we did that for ourselves and saw how far it could go, you know? And so that's how we started Droplet. And luckily the timing was, you know, we launched March 8th of 2020 and LA went into lockdown on March 8th. And so like it was, we usually are like, oh yeah. And we launched the same time as COVID. We had a great PR team for that. And you know, it started with a really big loss for us, a huge loss. We were supposed to be at Expo West, which anybody in the CPG industry knows that if you launch there and you do well, you know, it could be life-changing. And all of those things just kind of fell through our fingers just in those first few weeks. And as the months went by, even today, we're still trying to catch up on, you know, and to get back on those conversations where, you know, we've been reaching out to the distributors and Some of them didn't even work at these companies anymore. They'd been furloughed or laid off. And that was happening for months and months. And so for us, when it comes to the business plan and success and, trying to figure out how we're going to stay on this road, it was really that having an end goal, like being very real on why you are doing this. Maybe you're doing this because maybe you're starting your business because you actually enjoy knitting and you just want to feel like you help people who knit and show them all the coolest yarns or whatever. Like that might really be your thing, and the goal is just to help. But some of us have a goal that includes, building capital and creating value and building a business that's super important and worldwide distribution. And so knowing what those real big goals are and not being afraid to say, hey, I want to have I'm not good at math. And so you said 8 figures and I'm like, maybe 9, a 9-figure exit. Like if I want to do that, then I have to know these are the steps to get there. And maybe it doesn't happen this year because that would be insane. But at the very least, we know that every single step forward, regardless of if it's a big one or a small one, we're going to get there at some point. If you just kind of get thrown around by the COVID and thrown around by a pandemic, Pandasal, Panda Express, whatever you want to call it, if you just get thrown around, you're reacting and not acting. And so for us, we look far, far ahead and know that's where our goal is. And so it's really not about the 5-year plan, and the 5-year plan it's kind of so silly now for us to think that, hey, yeah, we're totally going to be in, Whole Foods by the end of this year because that was possible, but it isn't anymore. The entire place has changed, and starting businesses now, it will have to be seen in that way because, nothing in the way the traditional business has gone is going to be the same.
Well, I'm still rooting for you to get into Whole Foods this year.
Same. But we got our independence and they're amazing. And that's actually been really cool to see all the little, the owner operators, and they've all really rallied behind us and helped us stay on top of mind.
Absolutely. So Andrew alluded to this a little bit earlier, but how do you guys engage with customers during COVID-19? He uses TikTok. He makes a lot of drinks, by the way. I see them all the time. How do the rest of you stay engaged with your customers?
On this question, I engage with the community through our newsletter. So the great thing that we've done since the very beginning was collect everyone's email addresses. So we have combined with Clubhouse, we have over 100,000 emails. We send surveys, we send questionnaires, we ask them what the community wants, what they want to see, what kind of things trouble them, what can we improve upon. So connect when they're there. But lately I've been redirecting everyone over to Clubhouse, where I've been hosting rooms almost on a daily basis, almost every day. And I get to hear straight up what people really think about me, which is pretty awesome to hear. But also you have to come in there with thick skin and a grain of salt, like we're always here to improve, having the mindset to improve. And I always make sure that my teams have our ears really close to the ground. Like we go to other rooms, we have a really fairly detailed written PDF file on how to moderate correctly, So we try to really listen to the community and do more things to help build the better experience.
You are such an inspiration, Bryan. I know you personally, so I just wanted to give you that shout out here as well. Well, so we talked about how Bryan pivoted to using Clubhouse for a lot of the engagement. Have any of the rest of you pivoted in some way during COVID-19? I think, John, you have, because, well, for one, you made a big pivot and moved from Washington, D.C. to San Diego. So your team is dispersed, right? So what have been some of the shifts that you've experienced?
Yeah, I'd say one of the big shifts that we made this year was actually in the company that we serve. And so last year we were focused on just serving every type of company. We're serving e-commerce companies, we're serving your physical therapists, your dentists, your doctors, your chiropractors, serving everyone. But one of the pivots we decided to make was we want to focus on an industry that is recession-proof and possibly pandemic-proof as well, because we don't want to be, we don't want to have clients that it's going to fluctuate up and down. And so one of the big pivots we made was to zone in on HVAC and plumbing companies, because I knew that regardless of the season or the time or what's going on in the world, if someone's AC breaks and it is 100 degrees, they need to get it repaired. Or if a pipe bursts in their home and their basement's flooded, they still need to get a plumber in there. And so the way that we pivoted was we sharpened our angle. So not only do we help businesses get to the top of Google search, but we serve a specific clientele that we're pretty certain that they're going to sustain themselves. It's a boring type of business, but we're pretty sure they're going to sustain themselves throughout pandemics, through recessions and everything. And so that was one of our really big pivots, just zoning in.
Awesome. Hear of your pivot. So I would also like to hear about everyone's exit strategy or what type of legacy you would like to leave. So I know I'm a little late to the game. I learned about FIRE, financially independent, retire early. Is that in the works for all of you? And what do you want for your legacy? And
Sorry.
We got two people unmuting. Bryan.
Sorry, Andrew, do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. I think my legacy is having the Asian community be seen and be heard and be respected around the world. You know, I haven't really told too many people about the next stage of Asian Hustle Network. So we are raising money right now for our company. We incorporate into a C Corp, and we do see ourselves as the Asian TED Talk of the world. You know, we want to be the bridge. We're copying Andrew here. We want to be the bridge between the East and the West, you know, because we feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the East want to learn from us, but at the same time, we want to make sure we keep ourselves humble to learn from each other, you know, and just seeing more people on stage that look like us, sound like us, have the same experience as us is super powerful. And the reason why we're making this massive pivot is because someone asked me recently who were my 3 childhood heroes growing up. And I remember not being able to say anyone that was Asian, you know, and I don't want that for my kid. Like, I don't want that for my grandkids either. I want people on stage that look like us and that can inspire us and inspire a new generation. So that's my legacy.
And thank you for being a voice for the Asian community. Andrew and Celeste, do you guys want to chime in on this as well?
Celeste, you should go first. Ladies first.
I was just going to comment that FIRE is totally not possible if you want to start a business. Like,
I kind of agree with that. That's a whole.
You know what I mean? I ate a lot of ramen. I really tried, but you know, it's actually, I think, maybe freedom to be very responsible with your money, and then also the freedom to take the leap but I get it. I know why, especially the generation that I'm from. I graduated in 2009, and so we've just only known recession and catching up. So I understand why that's something that for our generation that's really important, is to be financially independent no matter what it takes. But starting a business might not be the best way to go if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. This is such a, I mean, I sometimes get emotional when I talk about this topic because, you know, almost everybody on stage, everybody on stage, all of us, you know, because we've talked prior to this and stuff. You start a business not because you want to exit. Really, almost nobody does, right? Almost everybody starts it because they feel like it's their calling, it's their conviction. Most people know our story. We did it as a side hustle, and we didn't think it was going to be a whole chain, right? The quote that I use a lot, I remember saying this on Clubhouse one time, especially Clubhouse is a lot of people who are like, there's a whole spectrum, let's just say. And you know, like people don't know, and I'll share it with this group, yeah, we have offers where if I sold the company outright, I would retire already, right? Like easily. And hopefully it's not a flex at all. It's just, everybody knows like there isn't an Asian Starbucks. Everybody knows that. And they know we have one. And you really start thinking about what you want to do with your life when that option is there. I'm just going to be really vulnerable. Hopefully, I say vulnerable, but like really honest, like it is tempting. And I get asked all the time. I never answer it on podcasts ever. Sorry, no offense to Asian Hustle Network, but I always dodge this question. But I'll say it in groups like this because it's a little bit more controlled in that, like, you know, my favorite quote is from Endgame, and it's like, no amount of money bought another second of time. And I think you really think about money differently when you see it that way, because the time you get back is just or you lose is irreplaceable. So I think for us, you know, Boba guys, most people know what we're doing with our platform, right? We were already supposed to hit 20 stores, but we're obviously going to go through 20 stores, and then we have we kind of got our footing back. what we've been doing recently is in Boba Guys is Bloom. So if any future entrepreneurs, including you, Celeste, we have a like accelerator where we know we're the account people land before Whole Foods. So people know we're the seed investor of Sanzo, and we got behind Sanzo really early. And Alessandro, one of I think the best entrepreneurs in America right now, he blew up, and I'm really proud of him. And some of you guys know Alessandro from Sanzo, and Dang Chips, Vincent. And, when it comes to food and beverage, we generally know. Because on the flip side, I'm sure you guys have seen, I just put this on my recent Instagram, is a bunch of us entrepreneurs who kind of hit a certain scale. We started basically creating a larger ecosystem. I don't like the word legacy, but a lot of it is like, there's a Hamilton quote where it's like, what is a legacy? It's a seed that you plant in a garden that you never get to see. Real legacy you don't see because it's too far out. And a bunch of us started Hyphen, which is the Hyphen Capital, which is all Asian American founders. You put it together, the fund's over $1 billion easily, I think. And we've been investing. I put it on my Instagram today. Anybody else want to raise money? Like, go through Hyphen. We've cut a lot of checks already. And that's what a lot of us, Sam, who started Patreon, Eric, who just IPO'd at Open Door, Eric, who started Zoom. And so a lot of great people in the community that need more women that have kind of done it. And now we're trying to build a larger ecosystem where it's intergenerational. And I think that's what I would say to everybody here. It's a matter of time. Nobody, I'm not going to exit. I don't think I'm going to hit 9 figures. Celeste, you probably have a better chance because you're CPG. I tell Alessandro, he has a better chance of really scaling and hockey sticking because wholesale-based businesses have that ability. Retail-based businesses are really, really tough. So I kind of know where I grow. So it's not even a number. It's this idea that, hey, if and when I get each level of the platform, what am I going to do with what I got? And I think if you see it that way, you'll find a very fulfilling life. And you probably will never really step away from your business. You'll probably pivot and maybe branch parts of your business off and spin it off, which is generally what I see a lot of self-made entrepreneurs do. So a word of encouragement, it's not a race. Take your time. But even when you kind of are later stages, like middle stages, like I am, you still are kind of like growing. You're still kind of pushing.
Thank you for that. So I'm running a little bit behind schedule per usual. So I'm going to do a final major ask and then move over to Q&A. So I'm going to channel my inner Guy Raz right now. All of you who listen to how I built this. How much of your success do you attribute to luck and how much do you attribute to hard work? And let's combine that question with one piece of advice you would want to share with the audience for who are building out their businesses right now. So I'm going to do a round table. Let's go reverse alphabetical order. John?
The metaphor I like to answer this question, it's surfing. So with surfing, and I'm not very good at surfing, so this is going to be very rudimentary, but with surfing, there's 2 parts, right? There's the portion where you have to get really good at some of the basic skills of surfing, like standing on the board, wading through the water, getting to the right position. And then there's also the part where you have to catch waves. And so catching waves, that just means like you being in the right place at the right time. And so when people ask like, oh, is it more hard work or is it luck? It's a combination of both, where you have to have the right skills and be in the right spot in order to really take advantage of the luck of the wave that take you to shore. And so it's really a blend, be in the right place at the right time, but also prepare yourself to be in the right place at the right time. And so that would be my advice. Build up your skill sets, get in the right rooms, connect with others, and your time may come today or your time may come 5 years from now. You never know. Just get ready for it. So.
Thanks, John. And if you're in the room today, you're in the right room. Just wanted to add that. Celeste?
Yes. So the question was, how much of this was luck and how much of it was hard work? And I would say it was 1% bad luck and 99% the hard work we had to do to reverse that luck. Because it's funny that every day something crazy happens where we're just like, do things just go right for other people? And for example, last year we had all of our ingredients expire right before a production. And that was thousands of dollars. And that was because of a simple, just shipping. Shipping had just blown up in our faces. But we learned so much from that moment of how we can figure out what to do next and how we can pick ourselves up and recover from something like that. And so I would say everyone I think should go through a little bit of bad luck to kind of, number one, understand the privilege and also the, just to be grateful, the gratitude that I have for being here in this moment, for being able to do what I'm doing. If everything were just to go well, I don't know if we would have the same mindset of growth. I don't know if we would have had the same, drive. And they say that greatness wasn't created in times of prosperity. And so for us, it's 99% hard friggin' work and 1% bad luck that we, everybody probably, I think 1% is fine and healthy. 2% probably not good. And then the other question, I guess you said, what would be my advice? And in our world, like for me, it's especially important to create. And it's interesting in the beverage industry, there are a lot of people who find it easy because they see a trend and they're like, you know what, let's jump on that trend, easy to copy, let's see how much money we can make. But as anyone will tell you, being first to market is the biggest and best advantage that you can get. And so my advice to anybody starting something, it's create, don't copy. Be your own thing. And you'll never be playing catch up. You will be setting the trends, you'll be the pioneer. And that's the value that will be worth it, that other people will find worth it, that investors will, be clearly see. That's where you can stand apart.
Thank you, Celeste. Bryan?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think that I'll start by saying that your business cannot outgrow you as a person. The way you have to continue growing yourself in order to create opportunities for yourself. When you're at the right mindset and you're at the right level of experience, you start to spot opportunities that come your way, and slowly you become more and more lucky. I'm a huge believer in the abundance mindset that, yeah, it does take a little bit of luck, but when you're ready with the mindset to see it, opportunities are abundant and they're everywhere. And you have to take into account that, your business cannot outgrow you at all. Like, your mentality will stop your own business, but if your mentality grows bigger, your business is unlimited. So opportunities everywhere. And advice for entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur, it's a very lonely process where you doubt yourself almost every day. But the one thing I got, and especially I got this from the Asian Hustle Network podcast by talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, that no matter how rich and successful you are, you feel lonely and self-doubting all the time. So it's just a part of human nature. So just create the tools in place that when you're feeling down, you have a community, you have a network to reach out to. When you're feeling good, give back to the community, because it's an ongoing cycle that never escapes you throughout the entrepreneur journey. That you're feeling high and you're feeling low. It doesn't matter where you are, that you have $100 million or $1 billion, you still feel the same way.
Thanks, Bryan. And right now is a perfect time for me to replug the Asian Business Association and ACE Next Gen, two organizations that can bring a community around all of the loneliness, because we're in the same boat. So off to you, Andrew.
I give time back. I don't really have much. I think everybody said it. I'm kind of in this gray area of hard work, and I think it's very squishy. I will say probably my part will be like, it depends on what your definition of success is, right? Like, if your definition of success is really attainable, really easy, kind of low bar, which is some people, I just want to live. I just want a roof over my head. If that's a definition of success, you could be technically born into that. So you would be successful out of the gate. So I think, to me, it's rather like hard to answer that question, because it depends on what your definition of it is. And then you get into, how do you define success? That's a whole other thing. So to me, I try to just end with the advice of, do your thing. The truest thing that I see in entrepreneurship is that when people do it and it comes out of their natural DNA, their soul, it goes a really long way. We're talking about, like all the books I got, like Steve Jobs, Yvonne Chouinard, Shoe Dog, with Phil Knight. I mean, all of these people, they just knew it was in them. When you do something unnatural and it's not really in you and you feel like, you have to do it or it's obligated to do it, I think that's really when, your business dies. People ask, what do you look for in a VC? It's not passion, but I look for this combination of conviction and resilience. So, because you need resilience, I think, as Celeste said. It's really crappy and it's hard to do. It's lonely, as Bryan said, but you need to kind of we say, it's a core value of Boba guys, resilience. You have to bounce back. You have to be firm, but flexible like bamboo, right? If you're like an oak, like Americans like strong as oak. If you're an oak, you're too sturdy. You'll snap in a storm. Bamboo, you'll bend in a storm, but you'll spring right back up. And then it needs very little nutrients too. So we use bamboo a lot as a company analogy.
And on top of that, bamboo grows really fast.
It does. It does. There's a lot. It stays on the ground for 5 years and it grows 90 feet in 90 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really bad at time management, as I mentioned earlier, so we don't have time for Q&A, but you have all promised to stick around for the networking session, right? So people will be able to double click at the table that you guys are gonna hover at. Is that okay with everyone? Awesome. With that being said, I'm gonna hand the mic over to Bianca because we have a special thing going on right now. Thank you to all of the panelists. You were fabulous, and I cannot wait to hear about all of your progress and success.
Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you, Christina, and our incredible panelists, Andrew, Bryan, Celeste, and John, for inspiring all of us. This talk has truly been a testament to the grit and resilience of the small business owners and the impact they have made to our economy, even in these times. Thank you again to US Bank and our sponsors for making this event possible. And of course, thank you to you attendees for joining us this evening. We hope you had a good time and we hope to get to see you in person at next year's forum. Before we reveal the two winners of the 2 international round trip Southwest airline tickets, I just wanted to share we have 3 great events coming up the next few months. So on March 16th, join us at 11 a.m. for Get Into the Pipeline with Vaughn Williams. This is going to be an intimate meeting for small business owners interested in doing business with SoCal Gas. Coming up on April 22nd, we're calling all golfers to Strawberry Farms Golf Club for a friendly tournament against the Asian Pacific CPA Association. Slots are limited, so if you want to join us, it's almost gone, so email us if you're interested. Lastly, keep your eyes peeled for more information on our signature event, the Women Business Pioneer Symposium, coming up at the end of May. And most importantly, if you want to become a part of this amazing business network, join us and become a member for only $100 a year. Or if you want to just test the waters, you can even join for free. Just go to abala.org/join. Okay, now the moment we've all been waiting for. I have the usernames of all of the people that joined in our social media contest. So let me pull up my wheel of names. And if you guys are having a hard time seeing it, just double click on it or click on the top right to make it full screen. All right, so if your username has been called, please message VNGO, that's VY space NGO to claim your prize. All right, guys, I'm gonna need your support here because even though I can't hear you, here's your cue. Drum roll, please. All right, I'm spinning, and our first winner for international round trip Southwest Airlines ticket is, ooh, it's Mia Fuku. If that is your username, please message VNGO. Congratulations. All right, now the second winner is Talia, WNGO. So Talia Ngo, if I said that correctly, please message V in the chat to claim your prize. All right, now I'm gonna turn off screen sharing. Congratulations to the winners. Everyone, I'll see you back on the networking floor. Like Angela said, we challenge you to connect with more people for the remaining time we have before the event closes. Again, my name is Bianca, your program manager, and I hope you had an awesome time with us. Enjoy the rest of your evening.